check out these new hiking boots I got. So the brand is a Solo. They've got Gore-Tex. They tick all the boxes for a really good sturdy pair of hiking boots, but not all is as it seems. There's the boot, as you can see. Good laces, good tread on the soles. And are you ready? There we have it. Don't trust everything you see on Vinted. So as you can see, the problem with these ones is the foam soles have completely disintegrated, or perished if you will. I got these in the post yesterday and it took me 2 seconds to realise they're completely shot. There is nothing left of these boots. As you can see, literally falling apart, crumbling in my fingers. Yeah, no good for hiking exactly. A lot of you in the comments may say I can just glue it, but there is no going back from that. You can't glue that because literally the foam is so perished. I'll just stick my thumbnail into it, there you go. Absolutely destroyed. It's very satisfying to destroy them. It's a big shame because these boots here do sell upwards of £50. I paid just £10 on Vinted, so absolute bargain. They looked perfectly fine on Vinted. I'm not blaming the seller at all because not everyone looks into shoes so much on Vinted and understands what to look out for, but as soon as I got them I realised they were bad. So if I just show you this front section here, get this screwdriver here, literally, you can see doesn't take much at all just to destroy these shoes. Yeah, so they're pretty much dead. So what a mess. Yeah, big shame. I straight away got in contact with the seller on Vinted and luckily she refunded me the £10. She understood the situation. She explained that they were her dad's shoes and they had been left in the loft for a few years, and that's exactly what's happened. They've dried out in the loft, going from hot and cold temperatures all year round. It just causes materials like this just to perish. And yeah, so this is one thing to look out for, especially in the car boot fields. Because I could have quite easily left these, given them a little wipe over, took photos of them, they would have looked perfectly fine, sold them on eBay, fetched a strong amount of money, potentially £70, £80 for these, because they are Gore-Tex. As you can see, the tread on the sole is really good. The buyer would have gone on one little walk with them, realised they're going to fall apart, and it would have been a nightmare. But yeah, just one thing to look out for with boots. Do be very, very careful. There's quite a few brands that do this. I know Skechers are guilty of it. There's a few different like walking shoes that do it as well. So just be careful of the foam soles. Okay everyone, let's get into the video. So there has been some big reseller news recently. Yesterday, Vinted dropped the bomb that Vinted Pro is coming along. Am I going to use it personally? Not right now. I'm going to let all you guys test the waters, see what mistakes they've made, and I'll see what happens. There's already been a few little glitches on the like account setup page. I think you can either put in your UTR or your national insurance. But when you put in your UTR, it doesn't go through properly. That's what I've heard. And if you put in your national insurance number, it goes through, your account gets all set up, but then your national insurance number is on show to the public, which I don't think is personally very good. So, yeah, I wouldn't want my national insurance number shared out there, but I've heard it could like cause identity theft and all that kind of stuff. So not for me right now. I'll let you guys trial it out and see what happens, see if there's any other bugs on the app. But yeah, for me, I'm just going to forget it for now, keep selling on eBay. There's also the fact that you can, I think, either switch your current Vinted account to a Pro account, or you can create a whole new Vinted account with a brand new phone number, brand new email, and have two separate accounts. So for me personally, it would be a buying account for my sniping, and then it will be a selling account for my selling. But again, I don't want to mix those two together at all right now. So I'm still going to be just buying on Vinted. Don't want to cause any suspicion. So yeah, I'm going to be buying on Vinted and selling on eBay just for now. But I'm not saying I'll never do Vinted Pro. I might do it at some point, but right now, just purely eBay. And I know I'm paying the fees, but at the same time, you do get the quality customer service. You get a wider audience. There's a lot of things to consider. Vinted, you can't go and phone them up and speak to a human. You're talking to a bot, and then you might get through to someone, but you've probably got to wait a good few hours. I know there's no direct phone line for Vinted personally. Yeah, so in today's video, I'm going to show you some sales. Had some really good ones actually. Yesterday, had a whole day off. I was completely wiped out, had the man flu. Back on it today, I've got yesterday's orders because I didn't ship out anything, didn't even come in the garage. And also one came in this morning, which was a very nice order. So stay till the end to see that. I've had a bit of a roller coaster of a few days on eBay recently. It's just been a bit up in the air. Sales have been a little bit down. So this video is just to show you that not everything is smooth sailing like in my previous video. It's like massive weekend. It's not always like that. Trust me. I love what Vinted have done, just dropping that bombshell. Like as soon as eBay have announced free fees for private sellers, Vinted are like, Vinted Pro, free fees for businesses. It's definitely a race right now on who's going to get the top space. But like I said, as soon as Vinted up their sort of customer service level, and also they up their sort of international shipping, if they invent some kind of GSP thing like eBay have, if Vinted can bring that out, then I may consider it, but right now, like I said, just focusing on eBay. But yeah, yesterday was a complete write-off day for me. So, start off in the morning, had a return open up. This lady claiming that the shoes she brought are not the size as described. So the shoes I sold were a pair of Adidas Gazelles, size 7. This lady is claiming they're like a size 9 or something ridiculous like that. So she has opened up a return, should have opened a doesn't fit return, but she has opened doesn't match description or photos. So that goes on me. For any of you learning how eBay works, if the buyer opens a return for doesn't fit, they pay postage. If they open it for pretty much anything else, other than change of mind, if it doesn't fit or change of mind, they pay postage. Anything else, I get a defect on my account and I have to pay postage for them to return it. So she's opened it as doesn't match description or photos. All well and good. I'll get the return and I'll report the buyer, and hopefully I can recoup the funds from my label that I've missed out on, and also get the defect removed off my account. And then later on in the day, must have been like 5-6 hours later, had another return opened up. And once again, this person claiming the shoes that he has are not the shoes in the photos. They were a pair of Skechers. They were the extra wide version. So went into the specifics. What's the size that I put? Extra wide. I've put extra wide in the specifics. He is now complaining that the size wasn't mentioned in the description or the photos. It was in the photos. I took photos of the label and in the insole where it says extra wide on the sole. And he has opened a return against me saying sent the wrong item. So he's now claiming that I've sent him the wrong item. So absolute headache. So once again, the same procedure as what I'm going to do with the Gazelles. I will wait to get that item back, refund him, and I will report him to eBay for abusing the returns policy. I know it sounds petty, but why should we let these buyers get away with it, you know? All it is, these buyers have abused the policy, opened a return, managed to get a label paid for them, and I'm the one that takes the hit. It only takes a phone call to eBay and just reporting the buyer, and hopefully we can figure all this out. So yeah, it's completely wrong that eBay let buyers get away with it this easily. Like, I know a lot of sellers wouldn't bother reporting or calling up eBay about this, but of course I'm going to, because I care about my account. So yeah, I'm going to do what I can to protect my account from anything. Okay, let's get into the sales. We've got 7 going out, 5 are pairs of shoes and 2 are different items, but one of them is an absolute banger. So stay tuned, let's get into it. Okay, so the first pair that came through, this is a pair of Altberg sort of like army military boots. As you can see on the midsole, it's really cracked, but they do still sell usually, so don't let this put you off buying the shoes. It's cracked, but it's not cracked like, of course, the ones I've just shown you. These have like perished, as I've shown you. These ones have just sort of dried out on this sort of hard rubber. I've still sold loads in that condition before, never had any issues with it. I don't think it means it's going to like crack and fall apart. It just means it's just cracked. Of course, it does still affect the price. If that wasn't cracked, I probably could have got 50, 60 quid for these. These have just sold for £33.99. They've been listed quite a while. I want to say I've had about a tenner for them all in. Right, and I found this really satisfying. Had 4 sales in a row, and all of them £39.99. So let's get started on these ones here. We've got a pair of the North Face mule slippers. So these are like the quilted sort of, what's it called? Thermoball. There you go. Thermoball mule slippers coming into winter now, so you're going to get a lot of these sales. Yeah, I usually pay about 10 quid for these at my maximum. I wouldn't pay more than that just because they're slippers and usually they're quite flat and worn out. To be fair, these ones are in really good condition and they're a nice sort of goldy yellow colour. These have sold for £39.99. Well, I mean, like I just said, all 4 of these have sold for £39.99. Let's get into the Gazelles. This one came through late last night, just a pair of like orange black ones. Lovely condition once again. I won't talk about them too much because you guys see them all the time on the channel. And then coming over here, got this pair of Asics Gel Sonoma 5s. So these are actually Gore-Tex. Again, didn't pay too much for these. They were pretty much brand new on Vinted, but got them at a really good price about a month ago. Probably about £13 all in. So not massive profits after all the fees and all of that are taken out, but not too bad once again. This is what is a little bit brutal. The fact that we know we can do Vinted Pro and not have to pay the fees on top. If I paid like 15 for them, sold them for 40, that's £25. Of course, it's still taxable, but that's still £25 profit. So after tax and stuff, £20 profit. Whereas on eBay, it's probably more like £15 profit. But just one of those things. And then one of these things you always learn about reselling is ugly sales. So I paid £3 for these at the car boot sale. They're like a space sort of Ugg boot. I never thought they would sell, to be honest, but I chanced my hand at £39.99. And randomly, after about 6 months of them being sat on the shop, they have sold. So I'm still not sure whether or not they're slippers or shoes. I think they're shoes because of the sturdiness of the sole. I want to say they're just standard shoes, but yeah, Ugg boots. Strange style of an Ugg boot. Yeah, £3 at the car boot, so that is a really nice sale. £3, no fees on top, just £3 into 40 quid. And I apologise if I'm sounding a little bit croaky in my voice. Still kind of recovering from this sort of cough I've got at the moment. Yeah, but that's it for the shoe sales. Not too bad at all. So what is that? 40, 80, 120, 160, and then what's that on top? 190 odd, minus all the fees on that. What's that? Probably about 100 quid. So it hurts a little bit, but all part of the game. Okay, and the next sale to come through was this Polaroid right here. So it's in pretty nice condition. It has been tested with a empty film. The battery starts it up and everything, but I haven't actually tested it with a proper film and like printed it out, but it seems to work okay. Usually I keep empty films of Polaroids, and if they've got a little bit of life in them, I keep them aside for when I get a Polaroid like this, stick the battery film in, and if it starts up, flashes, and just sounds like it's working, then I list it as working, and I explain that it's not been properly film tested, but it has been battery tested. And 9 times out of 10, it's perfectly fine. I paid £5 for this one at the car boot. It has sold for £26.99, free postage. Quite a nice, decent bread and butter sale. Very easy to pack, very easy to sell. Yeah, definitely keep an eye out at the car boot for them. Okay, this is what I mean by the roller coaster of eBay. I mean, this is 2 days worth of shoe sales, so plus the Polaroid. So 6 orders there, and then we've got one more just on the bench, which I'm going to show you in a second. But if you compare this to the weekend's orders, where I had 2 days of sales, 21 orders, and like 17 pairs of shoes, I think it was. Yeah, bit of a difference. It was sort of payday weekend when I had all those big sales in the previous video. So you've got to think about that. People then spend their money, they run out of money, and this is what happens, you know, but we get through it. At least it is still sales rolling in. Anyway, let's get into this last sale here. So there's a little bit of a backstory to this one. A few months ago, I travelled to Birmingham, or outskirts of Birmingham, if you will, to go and see Ben Fitzpatrick. So any of you that know Ben, he was doing YouTube back in the day, I'd say about 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago. I stumbled across his videos back in 2017, watching his videos and Nick and Andrew, all them lot. And then, yeah, went off and did my own thing, as I've said many times in my videos. Anyway, about 2 months ago, I went to go and visit him for the first time, went out for a nice dinner, discussed all things eBay, selling shoes and sort of everything stock, all in one go. He hits Marketplace a lot harder than I do, though. A lot of his finds are from Marketplace, absolutely incredible finds. Yeah, I need to get back on that, but again, Vinted takes over and shoes take over. Anyway, we went to some charity shops. He let me have free reign of his charity shop, so even if he would find the item, which I think he did see this first, he would let me have it. So thank you again for that, Ben. But finally, the sale has come through. I listed this about 2 months ago, and this has finally sold. This was sitting in one of his charity shops, and I feel bad because at some point he's going to come around here, we're going to go to my charity shops, and we're going to find nothing like this, because for starters, most of my charity shops don't sell electronics because they don't do the pat testing. They just sell sort of like rubbish junk, you know, and maybe like overpriced shoes. But in his one, this one was sitting on the shelf. He found it first. He let me have first dibs. It cost me £15. So what it is, it's just a basic Sony hi-fi player, but there is a slight difference. As you can see here, this is actually a mini disc player, which are super, super rare these days. So you've got the cassette on the top, you've got a CD player there, AM, FM radio, and then, yeah, mini disc. If you find anything with a mini disc player, even the mini disc players themselves, they sell for big money. But if you find a hi-fi system with a mini disc player built in, you can ask some really good money. If this had the remote and the speaker covers, I could probably fetch about 200 quid. Unfortunately, this one did have the covers, but they're all kind of cracked and damaged, so I just took them off and sold them just as the speakers on their own, which, as you can see, are in excellent condition. I've got spare CDs, cassettes, and I even have a spare mini disc, just for when these occasions pop up. I can stick a mini disc in, get it tested, and all 3 of them worked. So the CD player worked clearly, cassette player worked very clearly, which is really surprising, because usually when you test cassette players, the belts are always like dirty and worn, and it's all a muffled sound. But yeah, that was actually really clear sound, and most importantly, the mini disc player also worked perfectly fine. For any of you wondering what a mini disc is, I had no idea before I started reselling, so I think they were only released for a few years. That's probably why they hold good value. I could be wrong, I don't know how long they've been out for, but this is a mini disc, and it just so happens that I have an Oasis one, even though I don't really like Oasis. But when I first got one of these, I had to go on eBay, had to find a mini disc just to test it out with, and I found this Oasis one, which was about £13, which was the cheapest mini disc I could find at the time. And because of the whole craze in Oasis recently, this disc here has actually shot up in price. You can probably get about 40 to 50 quid for this now, believe it or not. I'm not going to sell it though, because it's just my tester disc. Keep an eye out on mini disc players. This one here has sold for £149.99. That is with free postage. I will be sending this through Parcel Force, just for my extra protection really. Anything sort of over 100 quid, I usually send it through Parcel Force. For more expensive items like this, breakables, package them well, put them in a good sturdy box, and they will go through Parcel Force. That should cost me about £7 or £8, and I think that's free insurance up to, it's either 120 or 150 quid, so happy days. And if I wanted to insure that through Every, then I've got to pay big money to get that insured. So it just makes sense to go through Parcel Force with this item here. So yeah, hopefully the buyer's happy with that. It's finally sold. So once again, thank you so much, Ben, for letting me have that one. I'll do the same in my charity shops, but whether or not we'll hit the same bangers, I don't know, who's to tell. But then again, I have been having some good luck in the charity shops recently, so you never know, do you? You never know. Anyway, that's it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed that. I've got to go and get these parcels dropped at the shop, get this one packaged up, and go and pick up the rest of the shoes. I think I've got Every, Yodel, and Impost, so the trio of shoe pickups today, so happy days. Yeah, if you've enjoyed it, drop your comments below, hit the like button if you can. Please do subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. See ya!